As you can see behind me, extremely busy, long lines here at the security gate at Bradley International Airport. Now, we did just check that flight information board just a couple seconds ago, and police say 21-year-old Ali Jafar raped 6 women in the past 9 months. They say he preyed on vulnerable women in this neighborhood of Springfield. I'm speechless. It's going absolutely amazing over here. This treacherous weather that Jana's talking about isn't stopping anyone from coming out here. Ryder Chilkoff faced a judge today for sentencing after a jury found him guilty of raping a UMass Amherst sophomore in his dorm. That victim in the courtroom today giving an emotional statement asking for justice to be served. Last night, a student was seriously injured when crossing this crosswalk behind me. Now, just 100 feet up the road, another student was hit and killed about a month ago. Protests just wrapping up here on the steps of Springfield City Hall. Parents and other community members speaking out about that school committee decision made last year. It looks beautiful out there if you don't have to drive in it or do anything with it. Communities across the Bay State saw some snow today with higher snow totals in northern Berkshire County, and as winds are expected to pick up as the night goes on, Eversource is prepared to respond. A Southwick Fire Department ambulance was involved in a serious crash Saturday night. Officials say while returning from Noble Hospital, Southwick Ambulance 1 was involved in a head-on collision. Good morning and welcome back. Thank you for joining us on this Tuesday morning. We've at least made it to Tuesday.
And you might be wondering why there's a third person here.
Yes.
It's our meteorologist, Dan Brown, joining us today.
We invited him. We invited him to hang out with us.
Nice.
Come on over.
We said you could come sit at the table.
Well, thank you for that.
The Board of Health has voted to end the town's indoor mask mandate effective today. Meanwhile, the mask mandate for schools will be lifted next week on March 7th. It's celebrated on March 2nd in honor of Dr. Seuss's birthday. The iconic author wrote over 60 children's books. Some truckers who are protesting COVID-19 mitigation efforts, even though COVID-19 mandates have been relaxing across the country. The Russian president warned that any foreign attempt to interfere with Russian action would lead to, quote, consequences they have never seen. On Monday, a jury found Ryder Chilkoff guilty of raping a fellow UMass Amherst student back on December of 2017. And on Tuesday, he faced a judge for sentencing. The victim, whose identity will not be disclosed, addressed the court.
4 years, 3 months, and 20 days later, I can finally proclaim my justice. Today is the day I can finally put this horrible experience in my past. Today is the day I won't allow myself to shed another tear for what he did to me.
In the victim's statement, she says she hopes to be a voice for other victims of sexual assault who are afraid to come forward with their stories. Deputy District Attorney Jennifer Sewell says prosecuting these crimes to the fullest extent is important to show victims if they do come forward, justice can be served.
Know that if they do, they will be supported through this process, that their case will be investigated, that if we have the evidence to move forward, we will, and that accountability can occur, that a conviction can happen, and justice of a prison sentence can happen.
Prosecution isn't the most important step, Sewell tells Western Mass News. Protecting students from sexual assault on campus is the goal.
It's crucial, you know, the safety of college students on campus where alcohol often plays a factor into a lot of these cases, and safety and vulnerability is so at stake.
In 2018, there were 22 reported rapes on the UMass Amherst campus, 19 in 2019, and 3 in 2020, a year when remote learning and capacity limits were in effect due to COVID-19. Now, just this past fall, students protested after they say a girl was drugged and raped at a fraternity house. However, no police reports were filed. Now, since this rape in 2017 and the protests, UMass Amherst officials have made security changes to protect students. In a letter sent to the school community, UMass officials wrote that they adopted a Survivor's Bill of Rights for sexual assault survivors, providing them with more support. They also offer trainings on sexual misconduct awareness and prevention for all fraternity and sorority members, and they established a Title IX task force to focus on sexual assault issues on campus. 2 UMass Amherst students hit by cars walking on Massachusetts Avenue within a month.
Makes me feel, unsafe about the on-campus, traffic.
It's nerve-wracking, especially considering it just happened last month.
The most recent, a 20-year-old student using a crosswalk near Sunset Avenue on Monday night around 10:15. That car speeding away after the accident, according to investigators. Back on February 22nd, Elena LaCour was killed crossing the same road just a short walk away.
It's about 50,000 people, a lot of them on foot and driving, and when those two mix, things unfortunately happen.
So we just have to ask people to keep their eyes open, keep their heads up, not be distracted, put down the cell phones, drive within the speed limit.
UMass officials tell Western Mass News they've made changes since the first accident, lowering the speed limit on Massachusetts Avenue from 30 miles per hour to 20. They tell us 2 new push-button pedestrian flashing signals are being installed on Mass Ave. Plus, the university hired a consulting firm to address pedestrian safety on campus. In the most recent accident, permanent flashing lights and pedestrian crossing signage exist on both sides of the crosswalk. But students we spoke with agree that more needs to be done.
I think all of the streets on campus that have cars and pedestrians should be redesigned or at least looked at to be kind of designed in a better way for pedestrians at all hours of the day.
One UMass Amherst student started her own petition after Elena LaCour was killed. It's already gained more than 900 signatures. Caitlin Fair says the goal of the petition is to get campus administrators to have a campus-wide speed limit along with raised crosswalks and speed bumps. In the wake of these 2 accidents, current students say they'll be extra careful when walking to class.
Yeah,
Both ways?
I always make sure I look both ways before I always cross and thank whoever is letting me cross. So yeah, it's really scary sometimes, but yeah, I think hopefully, we take more precautionary measures.